Dawn's Manufactory. I'm just doing some cleanup today, and of course I made a mess. I always make a mess when I'm working on the car. So I wanted to say something today about getting scammed. The TKX requires a different front yoke, a 31 spline front yoke instead of 28, I assume. I had to buy a new front yoke. In fact, I got a whole brand new drive line back in 1983. Seeing how I had to change the yoke, then I just got through doing that. But what I have discovered, let's see if I can get this up where you can see it. But you'll notice this supposed brand new yoke that they sold me for my brand new driveline had been brazed and filed by hand. I assume to tighten up the cup on the universal joint, which wasn't that tight when I went to take this apart. In fact, it was very easy just to use the C-clamp to knock it apart. At some point, I realized that it was leaking ATF out of the T5, was coming out of the soft plug at the end of the yoke, and so I got up, sprayed it clean, and smeared some RTV in there just to get it to stop leaking. Yeah, back in 1983, I got scammed. I just hate that stuff. Hi, welcome to Dawn's Manufactory. Well, I'm working on the Cowl. Got the KillMat in there. I'll give you a little look around. I've decided I'm just going to reuse my old insulator pad. It's a little beat up, but I think if I just glue it like it was originally, then it'll stick up there just fine. I got new factory style retainers, and I'm just trying to get this here cowl put together. Anyway, here, let me show you around underneath. Well, as you can see, I'm getting the KillMat up on the firewall here. And once I get that done, I'll go ahead and put the pad up. You can see underneath here that I'm getting the wires back up where they belong. I got the KillMat. There's areas that I didn't cover because like the pedal support goes there. And I got my new gasket put in there and got this cleaned up and painted last night. I went ahead and covered the whole firewall where the heater goes, because I think, a little bit of added thickness there isn't going to hurt anything. And anyway, and then I did the side panels. Okay, my goal is to get this insulator installed, and I'm going to use number 90 adhesive. I'll show you, I'll get a shot of it. But that's the general idea, just to get all this stuff in. I did take the shift knob and polish it, just because I felt like I wanted to make it look nice. I just love that shifter. It is so good. There it is. The pad is up. It is glued in. Let's get this part stuck better right up here at the top. It needs to be pressed in. Okay, so the original pad back in. Gotta get this harness going. Right here. Goes right up through here. There it goes. There. Click! I gotta have some air moving around in here. It is, it's already getting hot. Okay, next chore. Let's get this pedal support up where it belongs. I put the spring on there, and I think it should be relatively easy to get this in because I have no steering column in. Leastwise, that's what I'm hoping. I've got to swing it over to the side here so I can get it up on top of the dash assembly, and then it goes Right there. Just like that. Okay, here's where I get a grief from you kind folks. Because of my lack of organization here. That is the grommet for where the throttle comes through. I got a grommet already on the push rod for the brakes. Spare bolts for the spring, forward spring. I figured I needed these because I put the subframe connectors in there and I added thickness to the frame rail that these bolts go through, so I got some slightly longer ones. I don't know if I'm actually going to need them because the old ones are bolted up in there. Okay, here's the bracket for the steering column. And so this should be all of the stuff. Okay, I don't know. Everything is wrong here. Where my hand is, where the light is, where the camera is, none of it is working. Okay, this camera's just got to go. It's not going to work. Okay, so, yeah, I got to be, just to start off here, I have to be right next to this gorgeous shifter, see? Oh, yeah. The grommets around the gas pedal and throttle's hooked up. Brakes are all hooked up, but I haven't bled them yet. So the clutch here, I can do with my hand. I left the helper spring on, and boy does it really help when it gets down here at the bottom. I think I'm going to go ahead and run the helper spring. I know I asked the question at the beginning of the video how other people did it, but now that I've got it in there and it feels the way it does, it actually feels about like a 6-cylinder clutch. And I hope that it grabs good. Of course, I'm not going to know because it's a Kevlar clutch, which means I have to break it in for 1,000 miles before it's going to start grabbing real good. And I can easily burn up the clutch if I try to get rambunctious with it too early. I've noticed that the couple of wires here have lost their connectors off the ends. So I'm going to have to figure that out. And there's another one over here where the connector's off the end. So, yeah, you know, there's just a few things that kind of suffered during the assembly. Of course, I don't have the front of the clutch supported yet, but I think this all works pretty good. Yeah, there was a little rust that I didn't notice when I started sort of cleaning it up. The paint was just flaking off and there was rust, but I mean that stands to reason. Rust around the master cylinder, because when it goes bad, that brake fluid goes down there and just peels all the paint, and then water gets in there and rusts it up. And I haven't had a decent seal behind the hood for 20 years. I've sort of run into a spot here. I think I talked about this in an earlier video, where I ordered parts when I was needing something and I needed it right away. I would throw other things onto the order to get it over that dollar amount to get free shipping. The downside of that is that now I got those parts ordered, they came in, I have a record of them coming in, and I can't find them anywhere. Right now, namely, when I was doing the pedal support, I also ordered the boot for the clutch rod, bushings and felt washers for the cross shaft, or Z-bar as some people call it. And I know I received them. I remember seeing them, but I cannot find them. This place is a disaster, and it's been since July of 2021. It's when I received those parts. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go about doing a major look. I did we'll call it a minor look, although I probably spent 2.5 hours looking for them yesterday. The problem being that I thought, well, shoot, they didn't cost that much. I'll just order another one. and it says unavailable, not able to order at this time, or something like that. Now I need to find those parts. The boot's not there, so I mean, this is what I have for a OEM one. But man, is it slowing me down? It's just unbelievable. I'm just sort of gluing up, fixing up this little cardboard thing here. This is the, shall we call it, a drip protector that goes between the driver's side corner of the window and goes down in this point here where the hole is torn out, bolts underneath the one of the bolts for the vent. So the whole point of this cardboard piece is to keep water out of the fuse box if you have a windshield leak. Right behind me here, you'll see I got my vent fixed up. I just used some closed cell ethafoam for, you know, packages, shipping stuff, and I just cut a gasket out of that. It'll be fine. All of this stuff works really good, so I'm not worried about it. I'm working on the dash now. Realized that I have to get all this dash stuff done and get all that stuff run through the firewall, through the cowl, before I get the heater and all that in. So I just have to do it. And so one of the things I had done, if you remember from a previous video, is I had stage 3 gauges that I had fit right here behind the stock bezel. And it worked really good, but then of course I always had the stock fuel and amp gauge. First order of business, well, as you can see right here, I have to paint the bottom of my steering column. Painting the steering column today. So yeah, get her looking nice. So it occurred to me, you know, I'm back to thinking about something Barry said, which was sequence is scored. I can get the dash reassembled anyway, but I can't put the dash in until the dash pad is in. I can't put the dash pad in until the paint work is done around the window, so I got to figure that part out. I rigged up my sander sort of backwards here for my drill so that I can get it on the underneath side and dress the welds on the underside of this windshield here. A little pad here. Let's just see if this works. If it doesn't, I'll always thought that it should have. Perfect. Well, that's working really good. Okay, well, I'll continue. You don't have to watch. I decided I would just prep and paint the inside of this windshield pinch weld with semi-gloss black. So it won't show up or anything, but that solves my issue of having the paint work done before the dash goes in, because now I can just put in the dash pad, and when it comes time to paint, I'll just be masking to the back side of this pinch weld, which is already painted. Decided that I would do the prep works on the windshield pinch weld there. So this is black, catalyzed black, so it's hard as nails this morning. So it's ready for the dash to go in, but I thought I'd go ahead and sand and prime this spot here so that it'll be ready when the time comes to paint all of this stuff. One of the things I noticed here was, as you recall way back when I was putting this cowl in, that this car actually was originally equipped with a 67 cowl. 67 side panels too. So because of that, this recess is shallower, or more shallow if you want to say, than the 67. So this wiper transmission comes up short on the top side. Here's where the driver's side sits. You look over here and you'll notice it is quite a bit lower. And I think I can rectify that by just removing the leather seal. I have both the rubber and the leather seal on here. Worked really good. Here's the leather seal that came out. You can see how thick it is. And that's where the wiper transmission ended up with just the rubber seal. So I'm happy with that. That'll work fine. I don't have a stereo for the car right now. I just have the OEM AM radio. But I may just go ahead and spring for one of those radios, you know, AM, FM, and will Bluetooth to my phone or something, or to a USB, so I can have tunes if I want it. I'm not one for listening to music in the car so much, mainly because I enjoy, even on long trips, I enjoy listening to the car, the music it makes when it goes down the road. I get really in tune to every bearing and every sound. And so if anything starts to go wrong, I can usually hear it first. The car will warn me 6 months, 3 months before any sort of problem manifests itself. I will hear the problem first. I'll hear whatever it is. I'll figure out what I think is wrong just from the noise. And then when I have time, I can just look at the car and check out the things that I thought it was. And usually I find it and fix it. And so in all the 50 years I've been driving this car, the only time that it failed on me was on my honeymoon, not for my current wife, but my previous wife. So back in 1974, I had a wheel bearing go out. Some nice people let us set up our camper in their front yard. The next morning, I nursed the car down the road to a service station that nice family told me about. The guy was really good. We tore the car apart, replaced the bearing, got the car back on the road. By noon, I was back at that place, hooking up the trailer, and we were on our way for our honeymoon again. That happened about mid honeymoon time. My wife was all upset about it, but I wasn't. I guess that's why she ended up being my first ex-wife. All right, later. I guess I better get at it. I'm here jawing instead of getting my work done. Later.